Hey Geek family, we're back. This time we're going to check out a video entitled The Forgotten Volunteers Indian Army During World War II. I'm Nathan.
Trinity.
Troy. Jordan.
It's part one of a series. It's 5 videos. So I'm going to go ahead and check out the first video. And if you guys like it, we'll record the other 4 and check them out. Otherwise, I will just watch them by myself. I'm a big World War II nut. I love watching documentaries, movies, the games, all sorts of things. And when I come across the Indian Army involvement in World War II, I wanted to go ahead and check this out. I thought you guys might enjoy it too if you have not seen this. But real quick before we check this out, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all your support on the channel. And if you can you guys hit that like and the subscribe button, followed by that old little notification bell. Bang! Without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into this. Oh, Rachel's still testing. Studying.
I thought she was studying.
Or what? Yeah, studies.
Which one is it?
Preparing for test.
Republic Day, Delhi. Indian troops celebrate independence from the British Crown by beating retreat. But the parade owes much more to British tradition than it does to Indian. 60 years ago, this was an army under British command. During the Second World War, 2.5 million troops from India, Pakistan and the rest of the subcontinent formed the biggest volunteer army in the history of the world. It is an army that some Britons choose to ignore.
I can eat what I want, I can drink what I want, I can say what I want. It's a free country. That's why all our troops, died at Dunkirk. There's no package at Dunkirk, and Anzio, and Arnhem, and Monte Cassino.
Lots of black people died in those
Not at
battles.
Dunkirk, my friend. Oh, no.
Really? The Commonwealth.
My brother was at all these places.
He seemed a little racist.
But the stained glass at Sandhurst tells a different story. During World War II, Indian troops fought across 3 continents under the Union Jack. They were at Dunkirk, they fought at Monte Cassino. They fought to save British democracy, even though under British rule they were denied it themselves.
That's cool.
मेरे को दिल खराब होता है जैसे वो पक्की बोलते हैं उस टाइम में माइंड में ये बात आती है कि हम इतना कुछ किया अपनी जान कुर्बान की जो अपनी लाइफ का सबसे अच्छा हिस्सा था वो इनके लिए दिया और फिर अभी सलूक जो है वो ऐसा हो रहा है
You can't really believe that we could have won the war without the Indian Army. Without the Indian Army, the Japanese would have overrun India, they'd have linked up with the Germans in Iran, and the whole world would have come under the domination of the Axis alliance.
After the war was won, most Britons forgot the Indian Army.
महसूस होता है हम अंग्रेज़ के वफादार थे, नौकर थे, ब्रिटिश एम्पायर के सर्वेंट थे, वो चले गए, बच्चा यतीम हो गया। अब जब उनके दूसरों के पल्ले पड़े थे, उनकी नई चीज़ आ गई, पुरानी चीज़ को जैसे रद्दी टोकरे में अच्छा पुराना कोट हो जाता है ना, नया फैशन आ जाता है, तो पुराने को फेंक दो, नया फैशन अडॉप्ट करो, वो चीज़ चल रही है।
It wasn't just the British who forgot them. The fact that so many Indians volunteered to fight for the British Empire became an embarrassment after independence. The whole subject is still sensitive. The Indian government refused Time Watch permission to film interviews in their country. When Britain declared war on Germany in 1939, the British Viceroy in Delhi told 350 million Indians they were at war too.
Their declared policy was that they were fighting for the freedom of the humanity. So we used to mock this news, that what false statement it is. Are we Indians not human beings? Our leaders, they are fighting for freedom since long, but they throw small crumbs to us and they do not talk of India's freedom.
Indian nationalists urged non-intervention, but thousands ignored them and flocked to recruiting stations.
लड़ाई लगा हुआ था, तो लड़ाई में आदमी की जरूरत थी। हमारा सबका खतबा बनता था कि फौज में जाए और अपने मुल्क की मदद करें। पहले भी हम अंग्रेजों के दिन लड़ाई लड़ रहे थे और फिर सोचा कि अगर ये आ जाएंगे और दूसरे मुल्क के आदमी जो आ जाएंगे तो वो हमारे से अपरिचित तो हो गए। हम सदियों से पहले गुलाम थे और फिर आकर उनसे और नए तरीके से गुलाम हो जाते। तो हमारे ऊपर जो बंधन था ये पता नहीं कितने वर्षों से कई सदियों से ये चलता। इस बात से हम चाहते थे कि वो दूर से दूर रहे और जो हमारे पास जिनके पास अंदर हम है उनके पास रिक्वेस्ट करें कि उनको हम काम करके बताएं और हम अपने राइट जो है अपने आज़ादी का वो मिले।
जब हम रंगूटी पास कर लेते हैं तो उस वक्त एक कसम दिलाई जाती है कि जहाँ कहीं भी गवर्नमेंट भेजेगा मैं जाऊँगा, जो कुछ ये काम कहेगा वो काम करूँगा। तो हिंदुस्तान में ये रिवाज है कि वचन ना जाए प्राण चले जाए।
हम जब निकले, मैं स्टेशन पर मेरी माँ मिलने के लिए आई। जब मैं जा रहा था तो मेरे वालिद साहब ने मुझे कहा मैदान जंग से नहीं भागना, ये हो कि देखो बेटा तुम ने अफसर बनना है और गोली जो है ना पीठ में नहीं खानी, छाती में, ये एक जज्बा देना था।
Like all soldiers, Indian troops were expected to risk their lives, but received neither the same pay nor living conditions as their British counterparts.
पे में बहुत ज़्यादा फर्क था, रहने सहने के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा फर्क था। हमारी तो बारगाहों में पक्का फर्श भी नहीं हुआ करता, हमें तो गोबर मिट्टी से रोजाना लीपना पड़ता था और उनके लिए पंखे भी लगे होते थे, हर किस्म की सुविधा होती थी, हमारे लिए कुछ नहीं होता था।
The prejudice went to the top of the imperial government. Churchill did not disguise his dislike for Indians. When, in 1942, the Indian Congress Party failed to support the British war effort, Churchill retorted,
I hate Indians. They are a beastly people with a beastly religion.
Good Lord.
He considered Indians as inferior and he considered Indians as corrupt people, unreliable. Besides, Churchill was an imperialist person. He had in his speech, we can forego, and we cannot, I have not become the first minister of Her Majesty's government to liquidate the British Empire.
Churchill distrusted the loyalty of Indian soldiers and opposed a large Indian army. But the few Indian troops who were at Dunkirk in May 1940 impressed British officers with their discipline in the midst of a chaotic retreat.
Der Führer schreitet mit seinen Generälen die Front der Ehrenkompanie ab.
After France's collapse in June 1940, Britain's concern was national survival.
Die schnellste Jagdmaschine der Welt. Sie stürzt sich auf den Briten.
What was left of the British armed forces after Dunkirk was needed to protect Britain from a possible Nazi invasion.
Da, der Engländer ist getroffen.
There were not enough British troops to spare to defend the empire.
In die Tiefe.
When Italy declared war on Britain and invaded Egypt in September 1940, Britain's vital oil interests in the Middle East were threatened. Lose the oil, and Britain risked losing the war.
All right, that's the end of part one. Very interesting. That stuff just, I just love learning about history and everything. That's a very important thing too, is to learn from history so you're not doomed to repeat it, which unfortunately you used to kind of see some of that stuff nowadays. And a lot of that stuff they're talking about, the between the British and the Indian troops and the way they were treated and all that, you got a lot of the similarities over here. So even during World War II, you had Native Americans here played a huge part in the secret code against the Japanese. The Japanese couldn't break that code because they used Navajo language, and how they were used for such great things, and but then kind of at the same time just tossed to the side. And the same can go for the African Americans here. You got the Tuskegee Airmen, the fighter pilots in World War II, very very well trained, but not treated the same. Even though they were officers, supposed to be treated the same as officers, they weren't strictly because of skin color. And that, thankfully, it's not as bad as it was back then. But like they're saying, and you just gotta have great respect too for the same time that even though you're treated that way and you had all those volunteers that were still willing to go and die, not so much for, I don't think so much for the British flag is what they were going for, but in a way they're still protecting their country. Like they said, if they hadn't, if the Indian people had not stood up like that and volunteered and everything, the Germans and the Japanese could have interlinked, and who knows how the outcome of that war would have went. It probably would have been a lot different. It could have lasted a lot longer, or the Allies could have ended up losing. And the fact that they were willing to volunteer and put their lives out there, even though they weren't treated as good in the way they've been treated by the British during everything, but the fact that they were so loyal and proud of their country and everything that they were like, even though we were not treated the same, we want to go and show them what we can do, and then maybe through that we can get our independence. It's just amazing. It's just something that you don't really see nowadays, or you can think about nowadays is something like that. It's the mentality today kind of seems like, no, I'm not. Oh, you're not doing this for me, so I'm not going to go and do that for you attitude. Instead of having that sort of attitude, and it's people like that, man, that deserve the honor and the respect. But that was part one. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Definitely going to finish that out. We'll have to find out from you guys if you would like us to check out and put them out here on the channel. But like I said, I'm the big World War II dude here, so let's get with the rest of the crowd and see what they thought.
I thought it was pretty interesting. I do like World War II, World War I, all those kind of like stuff that revolves around that, because I always find it interesting on how they dealt with stuff back then, and like the weaponry that they used to like try to keep the enemies back, and like the tactics, because the tactics they used back then I don't think they use now.
No, just because the style of fighting and everything's changed so much.
Yeah, and it is interesting to learn how India did play a big part in keeping us from losing the war, even though we're not taught that in our history class.
Yeah, I didn't. That's what I was saying. I didn't know how big the volunteer army was that came out of India, and it was formed, like they said, it was formed in India, Pakistan, that whole area. But most of it was Indian soldiers. So
I really like that, and I wanted to watch all 5 parts. Hopefully we do, because that was just very interesting to know. I had a lot of facts I did not know myself, and I didn't even know that it was a lot of people from India that actually volunteered. But it was an outstanding amount, and without them, war wouldn't even been won, most likely. But overall, I think it was a very good video. Hopefully we get to watch the next 4 of them.
For the channel, yeah, I hope so. I'm definitely watching it, whether y'all want me to, or y'all want us to put it on the channel or not. So doing that.
Well, leave a comment down below if we should watch the last 4 of them. There's 5 total. That was the first one.
Alright, we'll check out the comment section. If it's a majority of people,
if we get 1 comment saying watch it, we're gonna watch it.
I like that. Yeah, 1 comment that says yes, check out the rest of them for the channel. We'll do that, because I don't really feel. I really don't want to do the, hey, hit those likes for the check out. No, we'll just, if one of you all in the comment section, hey, check it out.
Yeah,
like I said,
you don't even have to want us to check out. You just put check it out. Yeah. You can just put check, and I'll assume it's check out, and we're gonna do it anyways.
Yeah. Not like check out, like I've checked out of this channel. We know if you say I've checked out from here, you meant for us to check out the next video. I mean, come on, that goes without saying, right? And last but not least, we have Trinity.
History buff.
101.
Here's my history. Yeah. I'm not the biggest history buff. people. But I did like how they told about all the Indian people who helped us, and like it does suck that some people get treated differently just because of their skin and religious view or whatever. And one thing that stood out to me was the part where the Indian man said, I forgot his name. He said, like the British people got fans and stuff, and they didn't, and they didn't have any more paper to sleep on.
They had to use
so they
dung
had to use poop
and mud to repair the floors.
Yeah.
That's really sad. And gross, and like I feel so bad. So.
It is. That's what I was saying. Like they were risking their lives just as much as their British counterparts, but again, not treated the same way. But that just goes to show you. That's what I'm saying. It's so honorable to learn. Like even though they weren't treated as equals, the fact that they still went out and fought just as hard, if probably harder than their British comrades. Yeah. The fact of, and that's another thing too, is you hear their discipline in the whole Dunkirk scenario earn the respect of their British officers and all that, and it's just stuff like that they were probably told certain things from their higher ups about the British Army, because that was something that I was actually shocked is good. I've heard it from a bunch of comments and stuff on people from Instagram on why they don't like India, doesn't like Churchill and all this stuff. From the American side of the war and everything, he was good at keeping his country together and fighting off the Germans and everything. But hearing his actual notes of just calling Indians beastly peoples and their beastly religion and everything like that was harsh. I had no idea. That's what we were talking about when he's just like, he had a disdain for that. That's that kind of takes that. Yeah, that I don't even know what to say about that. That's just freaking crazy.
It takes away like your respect.
Respect and good that you thought of the person, but that, and then you turn on. But you can also at the same time use them for your military reasonings and missions and all that. But I'm very curious to check out the other 4 series. So like we said, if we just get one person in the comment and says, yeah, check them out, we will do so. But let us know what you guys thought in the comment section on Twitter and Instagram. And I'd be curious to see, too, if any of you guys had any of your family that were in part of those volunteers. I always loved, personally, my great uncle was part in World War II. He's part of the 1st Infantry Division, the Big Red One. And I've always thought about, because he's still alive, thank God, and I've always thought about maybe going and trying to do an interview with him to get some of his knowledge and maybe some photos and stuff before. He's getting up there in age, so I'd hate to lose that opportunity to hear his tales from his service and everything about that. So I'd like to hear that if you guys have talked to any of your grandparents or friends, family members who did go through that. Would actually love to hear that. So once again, thank you guys so much for all your love and support on the channel. You guys are awesome. Love y'all. Hey Geek family, we're back. At this time, we're going to check out part 1 for a BBC video. This one is entitled, no, I screwed that one up. 3, 2, 1.